Hi, I'm so glad that you're here. If you are new to this channel, my name is Heather and I'm with Rafferty Refined Designs. And on this channel, we do things like home decor, DIYs, and furniture makeovers. So if that's something that interests you, go ahead and click that subscribe button in the corner of the screen. In today's video, we're going to be doing a furniture makeover. If you have been on this channel for a while, you will recognize this piece. Yesterday we gave it a sand, but it is still recognizable from the very first gold leafing video on this channel. So this has been with me for quite some time. It's something that I practice on when I need to experiment with a few things, and now I feel like, you know what, it just deserves a new life. So I'm going to be reviving it in this makeover. Looking at the drawer fronts, I did notice that I wanted to do something for the insides of those drawers. But what? So I went on Amazon, did my brainstorming, and I came up with peel and stick tiles. I feel like these are a really fun addition to incorporate with your furniture makeovers, as well as it really fit the look that I wanted to go for with this. There's going to be some valuable information with this furniture makeover because we are redoing an already painted piece, so it has a bit of a different spin. I'm really excited to share everything with you guys, so let's go ahead and get painting. So with previous painted pieces, say that 3 times fast, it is helpful to give it a good sand before going in with some more paint. There is a possibility to over sand, and so you don't want to crack the wood, create any damage or bowing. I scraped it off as much as I could with the electric sander, and I did the drawers by hand. So I just took it down to about as much as I felt comfortable in areas, and we're gonna work with that. So that's why it looks a bit patchy. We will be using a primer today. I was going to use the famous bin primer, but with my lovely ADHD, I left the lid off and it's all solidified. So can't really use that, don't want to go buy a new one. So we are going to be using the 123 Zinsser bin primer in the color gray. To save some time, I'll be rolling on the primer today. I'm going to give it a good stir as always, and then just dump it on in to my rolling pan. Because this is a water-based primer, we have a large window of working time, which is great for my hot garage because things dry out pretty quickly in here. So I'm taking my time and making sure I get even coverage with this first coat of primer. I'm using my chip brush to get into the smaller areas to make sure that we cover every single surface area that had the purple paint. We're going to cover that with the primer. I'll be using some of this lightweight spackling from the dollar store to fill in our holes today. Even though we'll be covering the surface area with some peel and stick tile, I still want to take the opportunity to fill in the holes. And while I'm working with the drawers, might as well tape them off. I chose the lightweight spackle because it dries really quickly and I wanted to get this primer on as soon as possible. So I'm getting in there with my roller in all the big areas in the frame, and then I'll just do the touch-ups with my tiny chip brush. And here's what everything looks like with that first coat of primer. And here's what everything looks like with this second coat. We're going to be painting in the color Driftwood by Dixie Belle, and I'll be using my 2-inch mini to put it on. We want to make sure to mist our paintbrush as well as the surface area. Working with water with chalk paint will ensure that we'll get a lot more out of our paint, as well as a smooth and even coverage. I really like my 2-inch mini. I've had this paintbrush for a couple of years now, and it still is one of my favorite go-tos. If you clean it correctly, it will maintain its softness, which helps lay on that smooth coverage, as well as it doesn't fatigue my hand. So it's something I really appreciate, and I wanted to share that with you guys. I think that gray primer was an excellent decision. Even though that's originally meant for darker colors, it is working beautifully with this driftwood. I'm getting great coverage and it doesn't muddle the color at all. So I'm really excited with the way that this is turning out so far. Again, even though we're going to be covering up these drawer fronts with our peel and stick tiles, I still want to treat this like it's going to be shown. Just in case any spacing occurs with those tiles, we want to make sure to give it all the same attention and make it cohesive. Here's our project so far with our 2 coats of primer and 2 coats of paint. Now that everything's dry, let's get to our peel and stick tiles. Once you cut tiles, there's no going back, unless you're going to be piecing it together with little tiny tidbits. So I wanted to create a template for the measurements using contact paper. Most measuring tapes will have the length of the measuring tape written on its body, so it makes it really easy to just lay it down and measure an area like this. So all you do is add the length of the measuring tape. So this measuring tape length was 2 inches, so I just added 2 inches to the measurement of the measuring tape and I got my length. And I did the same thing for the height. I would recommend to do all the measurements on the back of your peel and stick tiles versus the front. The front has a plastic film on it, so it is possible to make marks on, but it won't be as even and accurate as the back. And now I'm double checking my measurements with my template that I created. The whole principle of measure twice, cut once is in full swing here, and I see that I'm right on point, so I'm going to go ahead and cut into it. Thank goodness these were thin enough to be able to use scissors with, because I really don't like cutting things with an X-Acto knife. It's a lot easier for me to make a mistake using those things, so I appreciate right now that I'm using scissors. So I'm just taking my time, making sure that I'm staying on point with my measurement line as I cut through each tile. Before I peel any backing off, I'm going to lay down my pattern. So I started with the biggest middle piece and made sure that the lines matched the tracking of the drawer, so it was my middle point. And then I am spacing everything out evenly on each side. Then I'll snip these little pieces to fill in all the blanks, and we'll be all set to lay it on for good. I tested out a small piece, and these tiles are really sticky, but I still just want to make sure, give myself a peace of mind that it's going to just stick on for good. So that's why I scuff sanded our backing a bit, and I'm also sanding the edges to make sure that they have a nice blended look into the trim. The moment we all have been waiting for, the reason why you probably clicked on this video, here it is. We're peeling it back and just sticking it on. And thankfully, because of all the measuring and the sanding, it looks seamless. There's a small space on each side that needs some tiles, so I'm going to take the little scrap bits and piece together my own pattern to fill those in. And I'll wait to show you how it all looks until the very end of the video, so be sure to stick around for the final reveal. Our top coat for today is going to be a Varathane's polyurethane in matte. Before laying on any polyurethane top coat, I do like to give my piece a little bit of a sand. It makes it easier to stick to and to make sure that the product looks even and streak free. I used to be really intimidated when applying polyurethane top coat because it does have a tendency to get kind of streaky. I thought by correcting my brush strokes when it was wet, that was going to prevent it, but it ended up causing me so much more problems. So now I just kind of get it on. I've learned that the product itself is self-leveling, so all those strokes will disappear as it dries. So just make sure that when you're using your polyurethane top coat, it's in a cool environment and you just go fast, get it on, watch out for your drip marks, and then leave it alone. The tiles themselves are waterproof and protected, so I'm not going to go over them with our polyurethane top coat. I'm just going to do the trim. Okay, so I realized after I started I had zero hardware for this piece, so I got to take a trip to Hobby Lobby and pick out our hardware, and I'm so excited to show you what I found. I found the most amazing glass poles. They're going to fit this look beautifully. So I'm going to use this nifty measuring device to drill in my holes. It's really nice because I don't have to remeasure with every single drawer. So I find my center, put my settings together, and then just drill away. What a transformation. I am so happy with the way that this turned out. I hope that you guys enjoyed the makeover. Thank you so much for being here and hanging out with me today. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments box down below. And other than that, don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you next week. Bye guys.